I live in Mumbai and I play as a goalkeeper for a local football club. Just to be frank, I did not believe in ghosts and supernaturals. I belong from a family with love and kind nature and strong willpower. We used to share some life-based ghost stories in our group of friends, but I was that notorious and oversmart guy who used to laugh and play stupid pranks just to annoy them. Coming to the real event, it was September 2018. It was monsoon season in Mumbai. Approximately it was second week. A normal routine day for me. I was jogging in a local park just after a heavy shower of rain which was pouring from last night had halted. The park had a garden near it with a gutter about 6 meters wide at some distance. The flow in the gutter was heavy and could have easily carried away a grown-up man. The time was in early morning around 7 to 8 a.m. After jogging for a few hours, I went to nearby bench to rest and recover. The bench was exactly to the side where gutter was. After 5 to 6 minutes, I started hearing someone screaming at top of voice. I soon realized that the noise was coming from the gutter, which was at some distance from the bench I was sitting on. Without thinking further, I quickly ran towards the gutter to see if someone was in danger. After reaching to gutter, I saw that a kid was around 7 to 8 years of age, had nearly fell into the gutter, but had luckily held the pipe which was parallel to that of a gutter. His body wasn't submerged in the water, but his legs were near the floor. I hurried towards the boy and tried reaching him with my body flat on the ground and my hands completely stretched out to pull him upwards. I was successful in reaching him without much problem, but when I tried pulling the kid upwards, suddenly his body became much heavier and it was as if someone was completely nullifying the pull efforts of mine. I held the kid's hand firmly, so even if he loses the grip, he would not fall into the flow. Soon after my rescuing efforts failed, I tried calling for help, but there unfortunately was no one around to hear my call. So I made up my mind that it was my duty to find out some other way. I moved myself closer to check on that boy, and to my shock, I saw pale white hands coming out from gutter had held the kid's leg firmly. I wasn't dreaming, but I could not believe that this was even real. The flow in gutter was really strong and could have easily carried away anyone easily. My hands started to pain, but I had made up my mind of rescuing the boy, no matter if I had to fight the ghost myself. First, I tried to calm the boy and win his trust. Soon after this, a lady came running from the park and helped me pull the boy out of gutter. The boy was shaking with fear and crying, to which we handled this carefully and by not frightening him more. By then it was 11 a.m. approximately. When we dropped the boy home and explained the whole situation to his mother thanked us both, and soon we returned to the park in my car. While in car, I asked the lady if she too had seen the hands, or was it just my mind playing tricks. She replied to me that she had also seen the hands too, and at first I was horrified, but then gathered courage. I chanted some divine verses and they were gone in thin air. I thanked her for help, or I really had needed her in first place as an angel from heaven. She was young and beautiful, maybe in her early 20s, but the worst thing of all was I simply forgot to ask her name and number, not even her address. I could easily tell that she was not from my area, since this was the last time I met her. But one thing I would confess that I really fell in love with that charming girl. Soon I returned to my daily routine, The experience was an eye-opener for me and was real horror, but I'm still happy about the success in our rescue operation and all positive events from it. It was 1980 and I was 16 years old. I lived in North Carolina on the Army base Fort Bragg with my family. I was getting ready to babysit for the Whites, a couple that lived about a half a block from me. I arrived just before dinner and played with Adam, who was 18 months, and Lassie, who was 3. Mr. and Miss White came down the stairs dressed to the nines and ready to go out. "If you have any problems, the number to the restaurant is here," he said as he tapped the paper on the refrigerator. The rest of the night was uneventful as I fed the kids and gave them their baths. I read them a story and put them to bed. Once downstairs, I settled down to finish the homework that I left for later. I was startled by the sound of keys in the door. I quickly looked at the clock and began to pack my books. Then Mr. and Miss White came through the door at midnight. She asked if there were any problems. I told her none. He gave me my pay plus extra for staying late. Handing me a 50, he said he would watch me from the door. As I started for home, the air got cold, so I pulled my coat tighter around me. Most of the houses on my side were 1 foot away from the woods out back. I could hear the winds pick up, blowing through the trees. I tried not to think about. The next thing I hear is a loud growl right next to my ear. I gasped and whipped around, but I saw nothing. I could see Mr. White in the doorway of his house, but I saw nothing else around me at all. I turned towards home, walking faster, when the growl came again. My blood felt like it froze. I did not dare turn around. I was too terrified. I did not want to see what it was. I began to run and did not stop until I hit the front door. I quickly slipped in and locked the door. As I leaned against the door, breathing hard, I waited for whatever it was to follow, but nothing happened. With a shaky hand, I moved the curtain just a little and peeked outside, but I saw nothing. I went upstairs, hid under the covers, and cried most of the night. I never told my family about what happened. To this day, it still affects me greatly. 2 months back, on a Sunday, I was with my friends at the beach. When I was there, I suddenly felt the need to go to the cemetery at Les Salines. I did not bother about it and continued my day. At night, near 1 a.m., I woke up and that thought came back for no reason. Due to my inquisitive nature, I finally decided to follow my intuition. I put my clothes on, phoned my 5 closest friends, but only 2 of them accepted to come with me. I started the car, picked them up, and went there. As equipment, I had a torch and they had their phones. We entered and we kept walking until we reached quite far from the gate. The reason why they accepted to join me was because my friends do trust me, and it is not our first experience, by the way. Just as we reached near the very old tombs, we hear a very loud and chilling voice rushing towards us at our backs. We turned, stunned, and suddenly had an uncanny feeling. We felt so cold but saw nothing and immediately rushed as quickly as possible to my car. Once we reached in the car, we felt relieved, but we were all in shock. One of my friends was so wet, the other was feeling dizzy, and I felt like something was holding my neck, but I thought it was because of the shock. After about 10 minutes of getting over what had happened, we decided to depart. I left my friends at their homes and went to mine. However, I could not sleep at all night long and took a day off on that Monday to rest. All day I was having a headache, and what amazed me later on was that the same thing was happening to my friends too. It was just at 1 a.m. that Tuesday that my pain went away and I could sleep normally. When I shared this to my friends, they said the same thing as well. Thank you friends for sticking to the end of the video. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the stories, please press the like button, and you can send me your own personal experience through the email that I have is horrorwriter786@gmail.com. The email is written in the description below. Just send me a mail writing a story, your name, so that I can give you credit. Thank you. See you on my next video.